Welcome to Staging the Third Act with Janine. I'm your host, Janine Escalier-Cato, and as you'll notice, it's a whole new setting here. This is the first show in my new home, so you don't see the normal background, and I'm excited. It's excited to have I have a whole new beginning in life and a whole new show. So welcome back. And today I have what I call a Renaissance man. D. Michael O'Haver, who is the Vice President of Gold Country Writers External Affairs, is with us today. And I call him a Renaissance man because he is a writer of many genres. Most writers pick one genre, and they can write in many, but they pick one genre, and they kind of stick with that. Well, Michael has found many genres that he is passionate about, and he is a quiet man whose passions run deep. And I'm so excited to have him here today. And I want to say one more thing before we start. This is a show by, for, and about baby boomers who are not leaving their legacy with children or grandchildren because they've never had any, but they're leaving their legacies with friends, family, stepchildren, step-grandchildren, and people that they love, and also into the universe. So that's why I have a passion about this show. So, without further ado, I want to introduce D. Michael O'Haver. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for doing this show, especially my first show in my new home.
Thank you for inviting me.
And before we get into all your works and the things that you write about, which is very fascinating, and the story about how you started writing your children's books, tell us a little bit about your life and how you became a city planner first, and then a little bit about how you became an athlete, and just a little bit about you as a person. Kind of start with the beginning.
Well, I was born in Atascadero, California, on the coast in 1945, just as the World War II was ending. My dad was stationed at the time at Camp Roberts, which I don't believe it exists anymore, but it was close to Atascadero, and he didn't serve overseas. He was a gunnery sergeant instructor in the Army, and that's the extent of his service. He joined when the war started, and he only stayed in the Army during the time that he was necessary, to get his part, do his part for the war. I was the middle child of a family of 5. I had 3 other brothers and a sister, and we soon moved from Central California to Washington State, where my parents had relatives. And my dad was in construction. He worked on heavy construction, several of the dams along the Columbia River. Chief Joseph is one, and the Dalles Dam was another.
Beautiful area.
And I remember living in Dallesport across the river in the Washington side of the Dalles Dam, and it was, I was kind of going through a problem child phase at that point. I was getting in a little bit of trouble, but normally I'm a straight arrow type of guy, and we soon moved after the Dalles Dam job was done. We moved back to Southern California and lived around Loma Linda area. My parents being Adventist, my grandparents was living in that area, and we settled there for several. I went to junior high, started junior high there, and that's where my athletic career basically started, because I liked all the sports. I didn't particularly like one, and I remember I was elected captain of the basketball team, and when I played football, I wasn't really that big like a football player is nowadays. I was kind of small for my age, and my nickname on the football team was Toothpick. I like to play lineman. I could slip through those blocking guards very easily and sack the quarterback. And
They didn't see you coming.
when I went into high school, I purposely didn't go out for a particular sport because I liked all the sports. I didn't want to miss out on being able to play basketball and football and swimming and soccer and all those.
My goodness.
But my PE class, my math teacher was a assistant track and cross country coach, and he saw the way I ran. Whenever we had to do laps, I was usually one of the first leaving the pack. And he took me aside one time and talked me into going out for track and cross country, which I did in my third year, or my second year in high school. And that was basically the start of my running career. I was elected captain of the track team in my junior year, and also the cross-country team in my senior year, and the track team again in my senior year. So I was a 3-year letterman, and I had 3 stars for being a captain 3 different times. Anyway, that started my lifelong career as a runner, basically. The way I got into writing, I was working at Placer County as in their redevelopment agency, and I had my stepdaughter was going through a divorce, and
Before we get there, I think there's a little gap for me that I want to know about. So you went to college then after
Yeah.
high school, right?
yeah,
Did you run in college?
yeah,
Yeah.
I went out for track and cross country in college too, but I didn't do as well there as I did in high school. Basically because the standard distance for cross country was 10K, which is 6 miles.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my best distance. And anyway,
And then you majored in,
I went in to city and regional
okay,
planning.
that's how you got into your city planning career.
Right.
And so you already had a bent for writing, because that's technical writing.
Yeah.
So you were already good at writing.
Yeah, I did a lot more writing as a city planner than I would have as an architect. I started out to be an architect,
Okay.
but then I switched because, not necessarily because, but I found out it was more beneficial for my writing
Mm-hmm.
to be in city planning, where I could write, general plans, and I specialize in environmental planning. So anyway, I was just finishing up my. I was in Placer County for 10 years, and my stepdaughter was going through a divorce, and she had a daughter, which is my step-granddaughter, and she wanted to distract her from all the drama that was going on at home.
No.
So she asked if I could email Mackenzie, and so I did that. My idea was for us to write a story together. Mackenzie was very
Wonderful.
passionate about her animals, especially horses. So the first story we wrote was about how she adopted this horse. And after the horse, we went to the dogs and then to the cats, and every time we finished a story, we would pick another one of her animals, and then we ran out of her pets. We would make some of them up.
I love that.
And when we were through with that, we were.
Yeah, show us the book.
This is Mackenzie's Menagerie. It's a chapter book,
Oh,
and you probably won't be able to see this, but this is Mackenzie when she was about 10 years old, and it.
oh, how cute.
But anyway, I published this as authored by both of us.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a legacy to leave her.
And coincidentally, her name, Mackenzie's name, is Haber. And everybody thought that I was the brother of somebody that was related to them. But my name, O'Haver,
Oh,
was so similar to hers that it caused quite a bit of consternation when I married her grandmother.
Wow. That was meant to be in a way, that you would have this influence on her.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And coincidentally, she's getting married now this coming New Year's Eve
Oh,
for the first time. And she lives in the Modesto area. And I'll be down there to send her off. Anyway, she got me interested in writing children's books. And since then, I've written 20-some
oh my goodness.
additional ones. And,
Have you had those published?
well, I self-publish
Yeah.
under my own, I form my own production company, basically, where I write, illustrate, and I publish my own books under, the name of the company is O'Haver's Lighthouse Beacon Press. When I first joined Gold Country's Writers, I got interested in historical fiction. In fact, I was the group leader of the spin-off group for historical fiction. And I wrote basically this this is the one book that I have had published traditionally. So
Wow.
it was published by Ambassador International, who is famous for religious type poetry.
Does it have a book distributor or do you have to sell it?
I basically had to sell it myself.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
but that's the only book of mine that's on Amazon because I have a little bit of feud with how much they take
Yeah.
from the authors,
Yeah, they can.
and I think it's
Yeah, they do.
a little bit criminal as the percentage that they get as opposed to what they leave for the author.
Yeah.
Then after historical fiction, I wrote some more children's books. Basically, I started a series that I call Sherlock the Peacock Mystery Series. And this is about a peacock and his sidekick, Watson the Dotson, who solve mysteries for their animal friends. And I've basically written several
That's
Several
so
different-
cool. Do you go to local bookstores and ask them to keep them in the local bookstores for you, or?
well, I haven't had too good of luck doing that. I have had this book, Sierra Gold Fever, was in the one in Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the name of it right now, but the one bookstore. The other books that I've been
Wow, you are really prolific. You're making me feel bad that I'm not writing every day like I should.
These are some of my poems. I also do poetry, and this is a book of poems that I wrote for my second wife that
Wow.
can be, they weren't mushy enough for, I mean, she liked them, but what I did, I had a file that I put these in called my Words of Wisdom.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically about relationships and how to improve your current relationship, or if you're starting a new one, the mistakes you shouldn't make.
I love it.
I titled it A Short Guide to a Long Marriage.
That's wonderful. Is it humorous or is it really kind of
No,
straightforward?
it's straightforward. It's not.
The title's kind of humorous. I think the title's great.
One of the books that I wrote, I got into self-help to improve your own self. I went through a back injury where I had a ruptured disc, and the physical therapists and chiropractors that I went to afterwards to keep up my running basically gave me all these exercises that I wrote this manual on how to recover from a back injury. And it's basically 20 or 25 stretching exercises that you can do without necessarily going to a gym. You can do it at home with just a towel and a pillow. And the
Are these ones you came up yourself, or did you get them from physical therapy, or?
there was about a 3-year gap between when I was injured and when I was actually diagnosed as having a ruptured disc. And I went to basically a holistic healer during that time, and she came up with most of these books, or most of these exercises in this book. And I've added to them, like I said, from the physical therapists that I went to and chiropractors and whatnot. And just basically what works for me.
Yeah.
So actually, this is my best-selling book. I've sold quite a few of those.
Through what venue?
Just on the merit. I mean, when I first joined Gold Country Writers, the people, jumped on this book out of all my repertoire as one that they would like to have.
Oh, great.
And
That's
basically,
great.
I think the legacy I'd like to leave with this is one that was interesting. My pet Tippy, who just passed away last year. In fact, if I'm too late getting back from this filming, my wife's down at the pound right now picking up his replacement.
Oh my gosh.
And
Aww.
she'll probably have another dog waiting for me when I get home.
Cute. The little dog with the big bark. Oh my gosh, she's adorable. When did she pass?
Last April.
Oh, how cute. You've got all these adorable pictures in it too.
Like I said, I do my own graphics, so I take my own photography pictures, and
That's really cool. Really cool. And so, I mean, it looks like you have a lot of fun making these books.
that's the fun part about it, right? Putting the books together, and
Have you thought about, seriously, I'm serious, have you thought about submitting these already done books to, like you have here, a spiritual book, spiritual publishers, self-help publishers, children's book publishers, where they can bind them for you and sell them for you?
Yeah, I submitted, like I said, this Sierra Gold,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, that one's
did get a
nice.
traditional publisher, but and then I just started recently. The last couple of years, I've been concentrating on a sci-fi series.
Wow.
But the premise of the series is the hero of the story puts himself into cryosleep and accidentally and doesn't wake up until the year 21,000. He has to deal with all the changes in the world that have happened since then. So, and basically, I've got 3 volumes that I've written. They're aimed at young adults,
Oh yeah, that would be a great theme for young adults.
and he gets involved with in order to help the overpopulation that's gone rampant, so to speak. They're freezing everybody into cryosleep that wants to go and shooting them to another planet to repopulate, and it makes an interesting storyline. But like I said, I'd really like to leave is these spiritual poems that I've written, and I've got 2 separate volumes. Basically, actually, I just divided that. There'll be 4 different volumes. The ones that deal with nature, like this all started with my annual calendar that I put out each year. I write 12 poems on a specific theme and take pictures that go along with them and produce this calendar that I give to my friends and relatives. And these are all the poems and the pictures from these calendars that I've done for like 25 years.
Wow.
And so it's like each chapter has a set theme, like
When you say spiritual, is it from the Bible verses or is it
some
just,
of them are inspired by Bible verses, but
or is it
mostly
just,
I'm inspired by things in nature. This
oh
one,
wow.
the theme of this starts out with old barns. For years I had written poems about old barns, but I couldn't see how I could fit it into a spiritual
Well,
category until one of my friends mentioned that there's a lot of barns along Highway 49. Why don't you tie it together with the gold rush?
ooh,
So I did that, and the treasures that the gold rushes were mining for.
wow.
This also goes in the second chapter is on lighthouses. That was easy to relate to a religious theme. Then
Wow.
fruits of the spirit, fruit stands,
Huh. Huh.
and
Clever.
so on and so forth.
Very clever.
In about 2005, they had a convention of the tall ships in Los Angeles. So I went down there and filmed all the tall ships, and they provided a theme. Then
Well, you're inspiring me to get back to my writing all the time, not just when it moves me, but like every day. You've got your own photography, your own publishing out of your house. I mean, this is awesome. This is really inspiring.
anyway, these are the legacy I'd like to leave
You
most.
are
Because,
really,
like I said, it'll be in 4 volumes. The
wow.
ones that are related to nature, I call it spirit bathing from nature, and everything else is spirit bathing from heaven. So I think
I like that, spirit bathing. That's a nice alliterative sound.
I get the ideas for my poems from somewhere. So
Didn't you say your mother was a poet?
yes, she was a very good poet, among other things. And I've some of my first poetry before I went to a class and learned how I was supposed to be writing was almost identical to my mother, because that's what I learned how to
Wow.
write poetry, by reading my mother's poems. And
Interesting.
once I learned that there was a correct way, basically, to write poems, to write poetry, the ones I wrote for my wife, my second wife, she had me compiled in a book, and she was satisfied with the way I wrote originally, and she didn't understand, or she kept poo-pooing all the things I kept telling her that I should be doing this, and
Yeah, sometimes if you learn too much, it erases your authenticity a little bit.
yeah.
So, I just one thing struck me before we have to, time's almost up if you can believe it. But one thing struck me, something you said, you were the middle of 5 children. I'm in a second marriage of almost 30 years, and this is the marriage. But both of my husbands were middle of 5 children. And both of my husbands are like you, quiet, deep men who are very, very, very creative and can do anything in many milieus, many genres. And there must be something about that middle son that kind of has that ability to take in so much at once and to learn and to expand and to be creative. As I'm blown away by the fact that you're past all the sports that you could do well in. I mean, you were basketball, football, running, swimming. Again, you usually only do a few, and then all of these beautiful genres that you write in, and the fact that you started with your granddaughter and that she inspired you, and you will always inspire her. It's amazing. I mean, this is just beautiful, beautiful things. And I'm getting the sign that we only have 2 minutes left. So I want you to look to the camera. And if there's anything you want to say to the viewers before we sign off, they saw all your beautiful work. But if there's anything you want to say about your website where they can find your work, now would be the time.
Yeah, my website is...
and you look into that camera.
It's O'Havers-Lighthouse-Beacon-Press _square site. I know it's kind of a mouthful to remember, but I just switched from a Wix website, which I didn't like the way it worked, to the Square website, where I could, in conjunction with the Square reader, where I could sell my books, using credit cards. So
I want to thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. And thanks for inspiring me. So I want to thank the viewers for, coming back to another show. I appreciate your viewership. And please continue watching Staging the Third Act with Janine Escalera-Cato and guests. Thank you, Michael.
thank you.
See you next time.